Hello everyone, and welcome back to Age of Noob. Today, we're going to cover a long-awaited topic, Wheelbarrow. In case you didn't know, I've covered all major generic upgrades, namely for farms, hunt, wood, stone, and gold, so be sure to check them out if you haven't already. I specifically left Wheelbarrow for last because it affects everything. So, let's learn about Wheelbarrow's effects and when you should pick it up. Before we begin, I'd like to share with you folks that we're currently running a map-making contest, in which the winner will win this awesome, custom-built AoE gaming PC. For more details, check the link in the pinned comment below. I'd also really appreciate it if you folks could help us spread the word in case your friends or communities you're a part of would be interested in this event. Thanks everyone. Alright, let's get started with the basics. Wheelbarrow increases the carry capacity of villagers by +5 and their movement speed by +15%, and is available for us to research in the Dark Age for 50 wood and 150 gold. You can technically research Wheelbarrow in the High Trade House or Step Readout, but realistically, you'll be picking it up in the early game in either a mill, hunting cabin, or Gur. Although I covered Wheelbarrow's impact on resource gathering across the 7 videos I already made, let's do a quick recap. For wood, Wheelbarrow increases resource gathering by roughly 7% and scales slightly better the more villagers you have and the more inefficient your wood lines are. For gold and stone, it's roughly the same, as the improvement is about 5% for 10 villagers and 10% for 15 villagers. But again, this mostly stems from the longer walk time to and from the mining camp. For farms, we already know that Wheelbarrow is puzzlingly useless, increasing the food gather rate by only 1%, regardless of the number of farmers. In summary, Wheelbarrow is the technology that alleviates the many little inefficiencies in our economy and scales better as you grow your number of villagers with the exception of farmers. For every other resource, you can safely expect a 5 to 10% improvement in your gather rates depending on how inefficient the resource gathering is based on our previous tests. That said, let's test that theory with 3 different realistic economies and observe Wheelbarrow's effect there, as up until this point, I've tested Wheelbarrow individually for each resource. A lot of the build orders also pick up Wheelbarrow before aging up to the Feudal Age, so we'll test the payback times for those as well. As an example, we will check out 3 different typical build orders with 3 different civilizations at 3 different villager counts. This way, we'll cover most of the early game scenarios across different civilizations to get a better idea of the technology overall. Okay, let's start with English. For the English example, we're getting Wheelbarrow quite early. By the time it finishes researching, we'll have 10 on food, 2 on wood, and 2 on gold for a total of 14 villagers. Without Wheelbarrow, those 14 villagers can collect 358 food, 72 wood, and 76 gold per minute. With Wheelbarrow, the numbers increase to 387 food, 78 wood, and 78 gold per minute. That's roughly an 8% increase in both food and wood collection, and only 3% for gold. Overall, we see a 7% improvement in total resources gathered. For the French example, we'll be getting Wheelbarrow at 18 villagers instead, with 10 being on food, 5 on wood, and 3 on gold. I'll skip reciting the numbers as we do get the same expected increase compared to the previous example. Hence, our food collection rate increases by 8%, wood by 7%, and gold by 3% again for the same 7% increase in total resources overall. For our final example, the Holy Roman Empire, we'll be getting Wheelbarrow even later at 21 villagers, with 13 on food, 3 on wood, and 5 on gold. This time, however, the numbers did surprise me a bit. Both the wood and gold collection increase were roughly the same as the previous 2 examples, but the food gather rate increase was limited to only 3%. This is because I left the prelate you start with on the 8 sheep gatherers, so the effect of Wheelbarrow was diminished due to the very strong buff inspiration already provides to your villagers. Hence, since we were mostly heavy on food, our total resource gather rate speed increased by only 3% with Wheelbarrow. This nuance is important to HRE players as your Wheelbarrow timing is more important compared to the other civilizations. Okay, based on the 3 examples that I've just given, we can conclude that Wheelbarrow more or less gives you a 7% eco boost regardless of your opening or civ choice, with the exception of the HRE of course. With that in mind, how do the payback times look like then? Well, Wheelbarrow costs only 200 resources, but we tend to pick it up very early on most build orders. Hence, let's take a closer look on how much we give up to research it. In the previous 3 examples I gave, we were able to collect 37 more resources per minute with 14 villagers for the English, 43 more resources per minute for the French with 18 villagers, and 26 more resources per minute for the Holy Roman Empire with 21 villagers. This means that the payback times roughly calculate to 7 minutes for the English, 4.5 minutes for the French, and a whopping 9 minutes for the Holy Roman Empire. The French are especially good at picking up Wheelbarrow because they save so much wood when building the first mill, lumber camp, and mining camp already, get a 30% discount on Wheelbarrow and pay only 140 resources, and they get their villagers out faster. Hence, Wheelbarrow for the French is an absolute no-brainer. Now, it's important to note that Wheelbarrow's movement speed for villagers helps defend against enemy raids and decrease walk time when moving from task to task, which isn't easily quantifiable. This is likely why pro players do pick up Wheelbarrow earlier, as a 7-minute payback time for the English, or even a 9.5-minute payback time for the Holy Roman Empire this early into the game is abysmal. That being said, this might be one of the few times that I'm still going to recommend you folks to adhere to the build orders that pros use in their games despite some evidence against picking it up early. The unquantifiable benefits of faster movement speed for your villagers early on is really the reason why we researched Wheelbarrow in the late Dark Age, as from a purely resource collection perspective, it really isn't that special. Maybe the exception here could be the Holy Roman Empire, in which you'd be better off picking it up later than other civilizations, but for the rest, you can stick to the common build orders of the meta that you're in. Well, that's all you need to know about the popular Wheelbarrow upgrade in Age of Empires 4. If you've enjoyed this short summary and would like to see more, be sure to like and subscribe to not miss out. Once again, our new events announcement video is linked in the pinned comment below, so please do check that out as well. As always, thanks for watching everyone, don't forget to pick up Wheelbarrow in your games, and see you all in the next one.